Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this Raid Shadow Legends video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the champion training tournament, where to farm, how to optimally use XP Brews to get some more points, everything about the tournament. And huge thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. They actually just gave me a new promo link, which you can find down below in the description, or you can use the QR code that you can see on the screen. That gives a new account Deacon Armstrong immediately after the tutorial, then Uugo at level 15, Tagoar at level 20 and Zargala at level 30. So this is some real power. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of the champion training tournament. The main way you get points in champion training tournament is by leveling up and upgrading your champions. And the higher the star ranks, the better. But what do all these numbers actually mean? So for each 1-star champion that you level up to 10 and upgrade to 2 stars, you get 14 points. 2-star champion, level it up to 20 and upgrade it to 3 stars, that's 34 points. 3-star champions, level up and upgrade, that's 108 points. 4-star champions, level up and upgrade, that's 217 points. 5-star champions, level up and upgrade, that's 595 points. And a 6-star champion, just leveling it up, it's 472 points. So as you can see, the higher you go, the more points you're going to get for leveling up these champions. And if we sum this up, and if we use level 1 food when we rank up our champions, then building one 4-star champion from 1-star champions gives 412 points. Building a single 5-star champion from 1-star champions gives you 1,865 points. That's if you use the food at level 1 when you upgrade your champions. However, you can also level up your food a little bit. I will show you the exact amounts that you want to use later on. But just as an example, building a 4-star food from 1 stars while you level up at strategic points, then you can get 466 points. So plus 13% more points by using just 3 brews. Or building a 5-star food from 1 stars, you can get 2078 points, so plus 11% more points by using 12 brews overall. You can also get some points from ascending your champions and from using skill tomes, but ascending your champions doesn't give that many points, so it's not going to be a significant part of your point total. Neither is skill tomes really, but I mean, single legendary skill tome 200 points, there's still something there if you have skill tomes to use during the event. But in addition to just leveling and upgrading champions, the real gains come from using some XP brews on level 1 champions that you intend to use as food to give them a few levels and that way more points. So here are 2 tables. The top table is points overall. So star ranks and how many points are you going to get from using X number of brews on a champion. So on a 1-star champion, you use 1 brew on it, it goes to level 9 and that means it gives you 8 points. If you use 2 brews, then it goes to level 10 and then that gives you 1 extra point for a total of 9 points. So from here you can see how many points overall are available, but that doesn't really tell you how many brews should you be using for each champion. In order to do that, we need to examine how many points each additional brew gives you. And that's the bottom table, points per additional brew. So for 1-star champion, the first brew that you give it gives you 8 points. Second brew gives you only 1 point, and the third brew, well, you can't actually do that, I think, because then it's already max level, but if you could, then that would give you 0 points. So from here that you can see that the first brew that you give to a 2-star gives you 9 points, the first brew you give to a 3-star gives you 18 points, a single brew on a 4-star gives you 24 points, a single brew on a 5-star gives you 48 points, and a single brew on a 6-star champion, that's level 1 at the start, gives you 56 points. So there's a lot of points available from these brews. And from this you can start to build up some kind of a strategy, usually based around the idea that many people use 1 XP brew plus 3 1-star champions on a 1-star to level it up to 10 and then they upgrade it to 2. So that's like the baseline, that 8 points that you can get from 1 brew. If you get fewer than 8 points, then you definitely don't want to be doing that, because then you could just be giving brews to 1-star champions and you would benefit more. So that's like the absolute minimum that you have to get in order to make any sense. And if your brew supply is limited, you may be looking for even higher return in order to spend them. So how many brews should you spend on a champion that you intend to use as food? It's currently at its star rank at its level 1. If you want to get a high return, which I here define as 150% compared to 1-star brew, so plus 50% more than you would get from 1-star brew, then at 2 stars you wouldn't use any brews. At 3 stars you would use 1 brew. 4 stars you would use 3, 5 stars you would use 8, and 6 stars you would use 7 brews. Or if you're fine with a good return, so a return that beats feeding a brew to a 1 star, that's always the baseline. If you can just feed a brew to a 1 star, then that's always going to be better. So, but a good return beats feeding a brew to a 1 star. For 2 stars, that's 1 brew. For 3 stars, that's 2 brews. For 4 stars, that's 4 brews. For 5 stars, that's also 8 brews. And for 6 stars, that's actually 10 brews that you can still give it and get a return that's better than feeding a single brew to a 1 star. As for leveling up your champions without brews, you may already have a farming pattern that you use. But if you really want to optimize, then assuming that you have double XP buff active, but this is not taking into account raid pass or forge pass, so it gets a little bit complicated. But with a simple double XP scenario, if you have a 2-star champion and you run it through hard, 12-3 if you can't do brutal yet, you're really in the early game, then 14 runs will get it through. Or you could do 13 runs of hard, 1 run of normal, and give it 1 1-star food, and that would save you 2 energy. Or if you're able to run brutal, then 9 runs of brutal 12-3, and then 1 run of normal 12-3 would also get it to level 20. You could also do 10 runs of brutal 12-3, and that would still cost less energy than doing hard 12-3, even with the most optimal path. For 3-star champions, hard 12-3, 34 runs, and then give it 1 1-star food. That would do. Of course, you could also do just 35 runs, but it would be quite inefficient with the last XP because there's so little to gain. For 3 stars in brutal, actually 12-6 is the best place, because 23 runs of 12-6 gets it to level 30, whereas with 12-3 you need 23 runs of that and also 1 run of normal. And for 4 stars, hard 12-3, 76 runs and a 1-star food, or brutal 12-3 goes really neatly into 52 runs, whereas brutal 12-6 can be a little bit more efficient. It's 51 runs and a 1-star food, but there's that extra step you can take. So as you can see, brutal is always better than hard. These are the optimal ways that you can do if you can only run hard. And in brutal, sometimes it's 12-3, sometimes it's 12-6 that you should be running, and sometimes there's some food or normal involved if you want to optimize completely. However, you might also want a little bit more convenience, so in that case, running brutal 12-3 with super rates on is quite cost effective for everything actually. It's plus 5% energy spent for 2 stars, plus 4% energy spent for 3 stars, and only plus 2% energy spent for 4 stars. So that's the amount that you use if you don't want to use some of that 1-star food or normal runs in between. So that's the champion training event, just leveling up your champions, upgrading your champions, and giving them some XP brews when you use them as food so that you don't use level 1 food, especially from 3 stars on, and instead you can get more than 10% more points at very little cost. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.